de mars. Veuillez noter que cette séance est en cours d'enregistrement. À cet effet, pour la meilleure résolution de l'enregistrement, nous vous demandons d'observer le silence durant la présentation. Good evening and welcome to the council meeting for the Township of Harrington for the month of March. Please be advised that this session is being recorded. In order to provide the best resolution of the recording, please remain silent during the presentation. On commencerait avec la prise de présence. We'll start with roll call. Chantal Scapino.
Présent.
Julie James.
Present.
Daniel Saint-Onge.
Présent.
Rob Dewar.
Présent.
Danny Lowe.
Present.
And Jerry Clark.
Présent.
Et nous sommes accompagnés ce soir par notre directeur général, M. Steve Deschênes. Merci Steve pour être là. Point d'information. Before we begin, we'd like to remind you that those present have two question periods on our agenda this evening, one at the beginning in each and one at the end of the meeting to allow citizens to address council. Each question period is limited to 15 minutes. We kindly ask that you limit yourself to a maximum of 3 questions. If your question concerns a personal or legal matter, we will ask that you meet with us after the meeting and provide your contact information so that we may follow up confidentially. As these meetings are recorded, we respectfully request that everyone maintain silence during the proceedings so that the recordings remain clear for those who may listen at a later date. Avant de débuter, je souhaite rappeler qu'il y a 2 périodes de questions prévues à l'ordre du jour ce soir, une au début et une à la fin de la séance, afin de permettre aux citoyens de s'adresser au conseil. Chaque période est limitée à 15 minutes et nous vous demandons à chacun de limiter ses interventions à un maximum de 3 questions. Si votre question concerne une situation personnelle ou d'ordre légal, nous vous invitons à nous rencontrer après la séance et à nous fournir vos coordonnées afin que nous puissions assurer un suivi confidentiel. Comme la séance est enregistrée, nous demandons respectueusement à tous de maintenir le silence afin d'assurer une qualité d'enregistrement adéquate. Since our last meeting, we've attended the MRC meetings on February 26th, our work session of March 10th, as well as that's not right. That is out. As well as our work session on March 10th. Depuis notre dernière séance, nous avons participé aux réunions de la MRC du 26 février, notre session de travail du 10 mars. We are pleased to confirm that we are currently able to commence to proceed with our bylaw as to the ownership of dogs on our territory. Permanent residents may now proceed to request their dog permit at our offices during office hours. Veuillez noter que nous sommes maintenant prêts à recevoir les demandes de permis pour les chiens propriété des résidents permanents sur notre territoire. Veuillez faire votre demande auprès de notre bureau. Avec ce, est-ce que je pourrais avoir un proposeur pour accepter l'ordre de jour pour ce soir? Chantal, all in favor? Julie?
Yes.
Danielle?
Oui.
Rob?
Oui.
Danny?
Yes.
And Jerry?
Yeah.
Point d'information conseiller et conseillère. Oui, Chantal?
Donc, samedi le 4 avril, April 4th, ce sera la fête pour les enfants pour Pâques, sur les Kids Easter Party. Il y aura naturellement Jean Lapin qui sera là pour danser avec les enfants, et puis il y aura plein de jeux et des surprises. Donc, voilà. De 10h, à midi, from 10 to noon.
Merci.
At the HBCC, thank you, at the Harrington Valley Community Center.
Merci. Daniel?
Le prochain déjeuner du LRCC, c'est dimanche le 12 avril. So our next breakfast is at the LRCC here on April 12th. Our St. Patrick's luncheon tomorrow is sold out. So.
Excusez-moi, j'ai oublié de mentionner, désolé, que c'est pour les enfants de 10 ans et moins. It's for children from 10 and under.
Merci, merci, merci. Alors, période de questions.
Hi. Hi. I'm Angie Jones. I think you spoke. I live on Bevan Lake Road in the 327. And since this summer there was 2 cement trucks that pass on that bridge when there's a 10-ton limit. And then now there's forestry equipment that went through that we did speak to. Mr. Duchesne did
Okay.
speak to them. But on the 7th, they passed again with things that weigh over 16 tons. We have the equipment information, we've looked it up.
You have the details on that?
Yeah.
Can I see you after the meeting with that
Yes.
information?
Yes, and I'm just worried because there's 6 lots on Thompson Road being sold at the moment. And last summer there was another lot sold, and that's when the cement trucks came in. Now
Okay.
there's other 6 lots that are being sold. One was sold this winter. They're all going to be building. And I would like a way of us to let people know
Yeah.
you're not allowed to pass with this
That's
equipment
right.
because it's a very delicate bridge and it's our only access when it floods.
Well, you know, say.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
because we're working together on this. And
Okay.
I've started a dossier with Control Routier.
okay, can I see you after the meeting
Yeah.
with that, those
Okay.
details? Oui,
Just a
Sonia?
quick question. I want to know when you realized that the augmentation of the taxes, like what month did you realize that you were going to have to increase the taxes to 16.7?
Well, we monitor our actual expenses, income and expenses every single month. And we start our budget work always in the month of November. So in the month of November, when we started our budget work, we realized that there was going to be a necessity to increase taxes. Basically, it's a job that's done every year. It's done the same way every year.
But
We
you had-
monitor our
but you had
actual,
no, sorry.
Yes?
But you had no indication that the taxes would increase? You had no
we
indication
definitely
right
had,
there?
most definitely had an indication that we were going to have increases. There's increases of everything, so we were basically anticipating increases, yes.
But we were only notified after the November election.
Yes.
We were only, well, we don't do budget work before the middle of November, so that's normal. And you never do a budget for a new council. You always do a budget after the new council is set. To the point where even the government allows you a full extra month to complete. Generally, the deadline is December 31st to complete your budget. And when there's an election, they give you all the way to January 31st because normally you could see a whole new table to start working on the budget. So,
It's just, the thing I find is sad is that, for sure, hydro goes up, taxes
Everything
go up,
goes up.
groceries go up, that's understandable.
everything's gone up. Yeah.
But never at 16.77%.
Did you analyze the budget as to
No,
what?
I honestly, I wouldn't know how to do that.
Okay, well, ideally, because the budget clearly identifies all of the increases. We presented it on January 31st. We posted it on our website. It went out with the tax bills. And anybody who would like to have more information can easily come back to us. We can discuss it. But the budget clearly identifies every line that's associated. Long story short, we reduced our operational expenses, but there were a number of other items that increased. So what were they? Their MRC, the Sûreté de Québec, we had our incendie that went up, but more than anything, we basically had no debt at all. So we did over the last few years have a certain number of projects, and the debt of one of those projects is clearly identified on our budget. So, but if you
It's
want
just
to,
what I just find.
we can't know in advance.
No, I understand that taxes have to go up. Okay, they go up. It's,
Yeah.
like I said, hydro goes up, food goes up,
Everything goes up,
but
but we reduced
16
our
point
operating.
something, the Grenville and Rouge went up.
Yeah,
It went up. Other counties went up 2
Yeah.
point something, 3 point
Yeah.
something. That's fine. It's normal.
but
You don't have to do
Harrington,
that.
Harrington,
But
if you
16
want to want to discuss comparisons with other municipalities, Harrington has the lowest mill rate of all of our sister municipalities of the MRC. So you might say Grenville-sur-la-Rouge went up this percentage, but their rate is in the 60 cents. Our rate is in the 40 cents. So there is a major difference between the other municipalities and ours. That said, when we do our balancing the budget, We work with our figures. We don't work with anybody else's figures. It's nice to know what the other municipalities are doing to at least validate, does this make sense? Does this jive with the same type of services that we're providing? And long story short, we compare extremely well with our sister municipalities, and the only real major change in terms of increase of cost was on capital and interest. It's on investments.
But remember, Madame Parr, do you remember when we were sitting at the meeting and we were some people were upset because I called the MRC. I actually called the MRC last week. You were also, remember our evaluation rules, whatever.
Two different things
No,
altogether.
but wait till I finish.
Yeah.
So my husband asked the question, that means our taxes are going to go up, and our taxes are going to increase if there's a tax increase, whatever. And it's true, because if your evaluation rule, you had said that nothing's not going to change anything.
That was last year. You're talking about last year's taxes.
Well, but this year the taxes were
The same. This year is it's a different.
No, but let me finish. So
The evaluations has no bearing on it.
okay. If the taxes, if the taxes go up, obviously it has a bearing. Because my house was evaluated, for example, as an example, 200,000 last year. My evaluation went up with the latest change of the roll, increase of the roll. Now our taxes go up. Of course, my taxes.
No. Okay. So again, I'll repeat what I said last year, but it's not this year's story. Last year.
No, we were maybe getting prepared last year for this year's.
No, last year is when the impact of evaluations took place. It was on 2025 taxes, not 2026 taxes. So in terms of that, the overall evaluations went up 86%. So we reduced our mill rate downwards to counterbalance, so that we were basically collecting, in terms of the total amount, we were collecting relatively the same thing, so that the actual increase in taxes was minimal. So this past year, last year, we had from this year, the total operational expenses went from $3,755,000 to $3,650,000. We reduced our operational expenses. Wait, please don't interrupt.
No, I won't.
What did change? We made investments. The investments that involve a capital investment, there's a debt and interest, and that's
Gavin,
normal.
if I could suggest,
Yes.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions because there's a significant increase, so I'd recommend that we have a session to explain in detail, like Steve did before. Could be interesting so you can see all.
So we do repeat our January 31st?
Yeah, I think so. Would be
Okay,
good.
well then we'll have to set it for another date then. I mean, we're not prepared to do January 31st. Yes.
Hi. Madame Parr. So, I moved here in 2003
Yeah.
as a cottage resident. My taxes were $653. And now my taxes are almost $4,000. There's nothing changed in this whole area.
No.
I was born and raised here.
Yeah.
You're
talking about that. So you're
So
talking
then
about
I-
your
that's
personal
understandable.
file, and your personal file is definitely tied to your evaluation
Yes.
in comparison with all of the other
I
evaluations.
know. Last year it went up 600. I'm just talking about last year's to this year.
Yeah.
Never mind the years before,
Yeah.
because it carried and carried.
Yeah.
I understand how interest goes, how things work. Places go, you do this, you do that. I ran the Ross Digger store for 14 years. I gave a lot to this community. But then it went up $605 last year. Then it went up another 500 and something this year.
Yeah.
So
This year
me-
wasn't to do with the values, it was to do with the cost.
Exactly, but you
Yeah.
know this in two ways.
Yes.
And I want to know who authorized this to happen this way with 16.77%.
It's not a matter
I
of,
don't know We voted all you people in here for us,
Yeah,
to take care of
Yes.
us. And we're, what I understand, 70-some% of the people who live in Lost River, Harrington, are retired people.
Yeah.
They're all on pensions.
they're over 60%.
So what are you trying to give us all out?
As we did that.
Do you want, because people can't afford certain things, or what's the deal there? I just need to know.
Yeah, no, it's not to
Are you
put
here for us
people.
people, or are you here for?
We are
Whatever.
here to
Buying
provide the
land
services that we are expected to provide.
Certain things aren't.
And we do our best in terms of providing the best cost associated.
I understand that, but I see certain things that happen in this village that I don't understand.
Okay.
I've never seen in other villages, and I don't say anything about it, but now I think I'm supposed to voice it.
Okay?
You know, the garbage truck goes to pick up the garbage, and you got another truck running behind it. That's manpower.
Yeah,
Correct.
manpower.
Yeah.
It's also safety and
We
security.
don't have sidewalks, we don't have
Yeah.
sewer and water, and we take
Well,
care of all our properties.
Yeah,
Right? So that's my concern. I'd like to know why it's gone up.
because I'll tell you
Such a
why.
big hit in one
We
shot, and I give people a chance.
We had a major project of which we were expected to pay 35%. The 35% we
Yes.
didn't tax like that. What we did was we created a loan for that. But
Yes.
we have a loan repayment, and so it's only tied to loan repayment.
I understand that. But
Okay.
when you do your own repayments,
Yeah.
do you not sever it out in certain increments so you're not hitting the community in one shot?
We have definitely looked at all angles on it.
I don't think you did. I
Yes,
really
we
don't.
did. We even have this evening certain modifications in that respect.
Well, I know a lot of people have been hit hard and it's
Yeah.
not fair.
Okay. Monsieur Fillon?
Madam Clerk, first of all, I want to comment. You said everything goes up, the SQ, the MRC, and so on. Well, the SQ went up 3.7%.
Yeah.
Our share of the SQ went up by only 3.7%. The MRC, our share went up by 1.5%.
Yes.
What accounts for the 14.8 tax increase in people's pockets comes from the increase in the mill rate of for the property tax, and which has gone up by 14.6%.
It's
Let
associated
me
to,
finish, please.
you're making assumptions.
I'm
I'm
not.
just going to basically say, don't have to approach the table, sit
I
down.
want to show you
What
the
we can,
numbers.
you don't have to show me my numbers. I know my numbers. Long story short, in terms of
I
the
was
major,
talking, you are interrupting me.
well, sit down and ask the
I
question.
can answer my question.
Don't make assumptions. You're making
I wanna-
statements.
I wanna
Ask
say
the
something.
question, Mr. Fillon.
Yes, the question is, and I'm leading to my question, sometimes people
Just
have...
get to the
No,
question,
I'm
yeah.
leading, I'm explaining...
Well, in your explaining, you twisted some facts,
No,
so.
all right. The mill rates have gone up by 14.6% on the basic property tax. 14.6%. If you take the mill rates and you take last year's and this year, this has gone up 14.6%. What has also gone up significantly is debt service.
That's where it is.
Debt
It's entirely
service-
there.
Debt service has gone up by 79%.
Yes.
The mill rate and debt service were decided by you. All those.
That's correct.
All those.
That's correct.
So basically, here's my question. What's going to happen next year, Mrs. Parr? Last year, I got a 15% increase. This year, I'm getting a 14.8% increase. What am I supposed to expect next year? Because now it's 30% in 2 years. I'm getting a little scared.
Yeah.
Because I'm not working as much as I did before. As most of these people are not
Yeah.
very young. You are.
Oh, no,
But basically, I feel I'm being taken as
Yeah.
handicap.
So to recap,
May I just say something?
No, I've asked a question and I'd like an
But I can
answer.
answer it.
No, I've
Last
asked Mrs.
year-
Parr first.
Last year, we reduced the mill rates because the evaluations went up so
I
much.
know that.
So
Everybody
we
knows that.
reduced those mill rates. So now you're comparing a reduced mill rate against this year's
No,
mill
I'm
rate.
comparing
Where you
what's
should be
coming out
maybe
of my
comparing
pocket.
what it would have been last year had we not reduced it because of the increases in valuations. So what we did, we minimized
Well,
impact on evaluations that went up by 86%.
again,
So don't compare last year's to this year's, it's
I'm
unfair.
not comparing. I'm
You are,
comparing
you
what's
just said
coming out of my
14%.
pocket.
Long story
Coming
The
out of
short,
mill rate is under your control.
long story
That's right.
short, Mr. Filion, long story short, as you pointed out, the major impact was associated to debt and financing. We
Which
did,
are
we
the
basically
decisions you
had no debt, and there's very, very little debt we've had.
Okay.
So we had projects, we clearly identified at each presentation of those projects that there is a percentage paid by the municipality. We also said we will reduce that amount by using surplus and by putting on a loan over the long term so that Monsieur puis Madame Tout le Monde today won't be impacted all in one shot. So we started off with the Rivière Rouge, we started off with the Rivière Rouge project where we originally anticipated $1.5 million, don't shake your head, let's just listen. We anticipated $1.5 million as debt or surplus. It ended up being 900,000. The 900,000 we reduced, taking 300,000 from our surplus, and the balance 600,000 we put over a loan. And this evening we're passing a review, but that's it.
You are agreeing, Mrs. Parr.
There's no question about it.
Decision.
It was a decision made by
And
council
those
to
decisions-
accept to do a job. That's right. Based on 65-35.
Those decisions were made by council.
That's correct.
And you said a little earlier today, to Madame's question, you
Yeah.
couldn't anticipate anything until after the budget was done.
No,
That's
we've had-
not my
that's-
question, and
that-
I don't. You've
That's
made-
not what I said. I said we could not
You've
come to
made-
a definitive until we do our work on the budget.
You increased debt service by 79%. You didn't do it
It
this
was
morning.
nothing.
You
If
did
it was,
over the year. Okay.
if the debt was zero and we jumped 100,000, that would have went.
You're not listening to my question. You've
You
done
didn't ask a
this, you
question.
had the power to do it.
Yes.
And now you're serving us on us to pay it, for it. My question is, what are you going to do this year so that we
This-
don't have another 15%
This year we have
increase?
presented a PTE, a complete detail of what we're planning on doing for 2026. We already have that on our website. It's part of our budget planning. So that's what we're expecting. We have the budget of 2026 is in place. And we've already confirmed for the next 3 years what we're expecting for 3 years. That provides a guideline.
And my question is,
Yes.
how is that going to translate
Into debt,
into what we have to pay?
well, I
In
can't tell, I
2007.
will not be able to tell you
Well,
that
there you
until, well,
There you go.
there is no council
I can't
in
manage
the
my
country
life.
that can do that, Mr.
I can't
Filion.
manage my life. Nobody here has a house.
We
children,
have a
and
budget,
so
we
on.
are living
Can't
with
manage
this,
that.
we are living with the budget we have set.
And last year, your budget creates a 14.
Mr. Filion, do you know what your gas per liter is going to be next week?
What?
Do you know what your liter?
That's not fair.
Okay.
That's
Or
next week.
municipality doesn't
You
control that.
we cannot predict what's going to happen in a year from now.
We have obligations as a
So you have no
municipality
idea.
to maintain infrastructure, and that's what we do. And long
I
story.
asked several times last year, I kept asking, what are the debt status, and nobody knew.
No,
until-
I beg your pardon, in
Nobody
July,
knew.
Mr. Stishan made a presentation
And
specific.
the promise of the committee was that everything was great,
No,
and we were doing
no,
great.
no, that's wrong, completely
That's not
wrong.
Steve,
That's in writing.
Mr. Deschênes, on your request, presented a presentation specifically to answer that question.
When was that?
You were there. There was only like 3 people there. You were one of them. Holly was another one.
And that was after the.
No, sir. No, sir. It was not after. It was on the specific question. We've been talking about the process of a.
I'm trying to be.
Okay, I think we've
I'm trying to
exceeded
be
our
reasonable
15
here.
minutes, Lou.
yes.
I don't want another 40, 15% increase.
Neither do I.
And I don't think
But
that,
we were
I think
going
the
to-
council has to
Give other people
do
a
something
chance to
about
ask
it.
questions.
I think it
Monsieur
does.
Saint-Charles?
I'll be very brief, I'll make it simple. Considering the fact last year my evaluation doubled, but you lowered the pay, I still get hit by 15.1%. And this year I got 14.2%.
Okay.
Okay, I will trust your great wisdom to manage my money as good as you can. I'm not going to
Thank you.
question that.
Thank you.
Other people does, I don't.
Okay, thank you.
There is no business in Harrington other than a couple dépanneurs. That means we have no sources of revenue.
That's right.
Other than taxpayer.
That's-
We agree?
Yes.
Now, my request, considering next year's tax, can we please do not contract more, I'm going to use goddamn debt instead of the F word, by buying lands around Rouge River for absolutely not essential projects of that kind? I know Mr. Deschênes told me, there's $700,000 on the table of grant we can get. It's very nice, but we always end by paying the other 30 or 35%.
Only if it's on that base. Let's take this
Anyway,
year's.
my point is, please, can we do not spend more unnecessary money? That's all I ask.
What we have presented this year for our planning, our 3-year planning for this specific year is we are not looking at any projects where, any additional projects where we're looking at a participation. The projects we have on the table relative to Hydro-Quebec Rivière Rouge is entirely covered with no taxpayer being affected by taxes or debt. For the Lost River Dam project, that is entirely being compensated by a grant and the funding the MTQ and Revenue Quebec gave to us. There is no loan anticipated on that project.
Okay, thank you for that specification. I'm just going to add something before we end because it's long enough. The dam is a must. The Rivière Rouge is not knowing in life. It never goes the way we think. It never goes as easy as we thought or we planned. It always ends by costing more. You only have to read or listen at the news. Municipal, federal, provincial, every time they say it's going to cost $1 million, it ends by 1.5 or 2 or 3.
The project.
And it applies to every level of government. That's me. Please, can we not spend no absolutely essential money?
We're not spending any funds on the Rivière Rouge project that are not provided via grant. Or our park project. We have a park fund, it's specific for that, but we have 2 grants specific to the Rivière Rouge and
I'm taking your word and I'm trusting you. If it costs a goddamn dollar more than you're telling me, I'll put it on your nose.
on my what?
That's it.
You put it on my what?
I'll put it on your nose. That means I'll tell you you were wrong because it never costs what we do anticipate. Never.
What we do have in terms of projected work, which was announced at our last meeting, is the upper end of Rivière Rouge Road, of which there is a participation municipal and there's a grant and there's a participation from the municipality. But wait, let me answer, let me just finish with this. But on that particular project, what is our municipal responsibility is we're not looking at taking loans or taxing it because we're looking at having our contribution coming from our operations, our own equipment, our own human resources that are claimed from the process of grant. They're applied at a higher dollar level than if we were to contract it out to another person. So in that particular project, we're looking at also zero debt. But,
Time will tell.
but exactly.
I just have a quick question, because I did want to attend the 2026 budget meeting, which was changed many, many times. When was it announced that it was going to be January 31st? 'Cause
It was
we were
announced
here-
2 weeks before. Yeah.
No, we were here on the Monday.
We were definitely, I said it right on that meeting, you were there on the Monday night meeting, I announced it then because it was already set at that point.
But I think it was changed.
It was not changed after that Monday before meeting, that's right.
Okay. How many, did a lot of people from the community attend, or was it able to?
We had minimal, I think we had 2 people attend.
Okay. And did all the councillors vote for increasing the taxes at that meeting?
It was unanimous.
It was not unanimous, it was by majority,
5 against
6 against 1.
6 against 1.
So it went with the
They voted
majority.
against you, didn't they, Mrs. Barr?
They didn't vote against me, they voted in favor of a certain platform,
You voted
yes.
against it.
That's right. I voted against the budget because I felt we were cutting ourselves too short. That's right.
You wanted to increase it more?
But they-
I wanted to not use surplus for paying, reducing taxes. I wanted to use surplus for reducing debt, because when you reduce debt, you also reduce interest.
Especially when you increase the debt by 79% in a year.
Well, it's not a matter of 79%, Mr.
79%
Filion.
is
We
fine.
had been talking about that increase for 3 years running.
79% your numbers.
You don't have to do that kind of
I
present.
do, because when
No,
I-
you don't have to do that. It's silly. Now, come on. So the 15 minutes is up. We're going to have another chance in halfway through the meeting to continue. We will proceed to item number 6. Approbation des procès-verbaux. Approval of minutes of the meeting of February 16. Can I have a proposer? Rob, all in favor? Chantal?
Oui.
Julie?
Yes.
Danielle?
Oui.
Danny?
Yes.
And Jerry?
Yes.
Thank you. Gestion financière et administrative, financial management. 7.1, deposit of the expense report authorized by general direction and public service in terms of the month of February. Dépôt du rapport des dépenses autorisées par la direction générale et le directeur de service pour le mois de février. Pour administration, nous avons une somme de 60 040 et pour voirie, 4 492. En termes de grosses sommes qui touchent ça, on a pour équipe Laurence 4 052 et 87 pour la surveillance réfection chemin Harrington. On a Morisson électrique pour les différentes fournitures pour le chalet dans le parc LRCC. Isolation Argenteuil, c'est insulation for the ceiling in the office of Harrington. And we have DWD consultants for stabilization work done, including culvert on Rivière Rouge for $14,992.74, and DWV consultants for, and it's the same description, for $4,438.04. In terms of voirie, they're all minimal expenses, except for $1,611 for brushes for the road sweeper. Bon, pour acceptation des comptes à payer, pour le mois de février, la somme de 643 516.25. Acceptance of the accounts payable and accounts paid for the month of February, total of amount $643,516.25. Est-ce que je peux avoir un proposeur? Daniel, all in favor? Chantal?
Oui.
Julie?
Yes.
Rob? Danny?
Oui.
And Jerry? 7.3, dépôt du rapport financier février 2026, deposit of the financial report for February 2026, which was provided to all members of council. 7.4, abrogation de la résolution 2026-02 R027, radiation des taxes prescrites. 7.4 is the cancellation of the resolution that took place on our last meeting, 2026 to R27, relative to writing off certain prescribed taxes. We were informed during our application for the sheriff's sale for the properties going for sale of taxes that we were indeed entitled to incorporate all of our expenses, including beyond 3 years, as part of the debt per property. Alors, nous avons, in that respect, we are canceling the write-off and not writing off those amounts. Alors, en gros, l'abrogation, c'est relié au fait que pour les propriétés soumises pour taxes, vente de shérif par la MRC, nous étions informés que les sommes qui étaient plus tard que 3 ans étaient effectivement récupérables durant la vente. Alors, nous avons annulé notre radiation de taxes à ce niveau-là, qui était 39 000, 40 000. 7.5, attendez, est-ce que je peux avoir un proposeur? Julie? All in favor? Chantal?
Oui.
Danielle?
Oui.
Rob?
Oui.
Danny?
Oui.
And Jerry?
Oui.
7.5, autorisation de paiement à David Riddle pour les travaux chemin Harrington, décompte numéro 8. Donc, la valeur est 203 362,82, qui inclut notre retenue contractuelle de 5%, plus des travaux supplémentaires de 5 466,53. Authorization for payment to David Riddle for works performed on chemin Harrington, installment number 8, $203,362.82, which covers our 5% retainer plus supplementary works of $5,466.53. Can I have a proposer? Danny? All in favor? Chantal? Julie? Yes. Danielle?
Oui.
Rob?
Oui.
And Jerry?
Oui.
7.6, radiation des taxes. En effet, ce montant de radiation de 170 et 85 sous est relatif à la partie de taxes pour une propriété que nous avons pris pour taxes et vendue. Ça représente le montant de taxes pour la période où on était propriétaire. Cancellation of taxes for 2025, it's an amount of $170.85. It's relative to 57 Chemin White, a property that we took for taxes and then resold, and that dollar value, $170.85, represent the amount of taxes when Harrington was the owner, so we are proceeding to write that off. Est-ce que je peux avoir un proposeur? Rob, all in favor? Chantal? Julie?
Yes.
Danielle?
Oui.
Jerry?
Oui.
And Dan?
Yes.
Sorry, I skipped you. 7.7, autorisation visant une offre d'achat globale pour tous les lots résiduels appartenant à la société État Hydro-Québec localisée dans la municipalité du canton de Harrington. Authorization to proceed to offer a global purchase of all the residual lots owned by Hydro-Quebec located in the municipality of the township of Harrington. We have proceeded in terms of a final offer looking at approving of $435,000 for the entirety of all the lots situated on the Rivière Rouge, on both sides of the Rivière Rouge owned by Harrington, by Hydro-Quebec, of which it's a total value of 2,882,731 square feet. We are receiving a grant of $450,000 to proceed to that purchase, and the works itemized are tied to other types of grants. Est-ce que je l'ai dit en français puis en anglais? Did I say this in English? Did I say this in English
It's
already?
okay. I
Well understood.
Okay. Can I have a proposer? Rob, all in favor? Chantal? Julie? Danielle?
Oui.
Danny?
Yes.
And Jerry?
Yeah.
7.8. Autorisation d'enchérir vente immeuble pour défaut de paiement des taxes municipales. 7.8. Authorization to enchérir, to go to sale of taxes relative to the sale of taxes for non-payment of municipal taxes has been submitted to the MRC to proceed. Date of the sale is May 14th. I'm presuming at their offices.
Yeah.
And this authorization is to recognize Mathieu Dessureau and Luce Tremblay to be mandated to commence the bidding to ensure that we collect the amount we're looking for taxes.
The list is not still available.
It's going to be available. Est-ce que c'est déjà?
It was supposed to be today.
Déjà? Oh, today,
It was
eh?
supposed today, but
The
I called
MRC at the
MRC, it's not ready.
It's not
Maybe
ready.
tomorrow, maybe Wednesday,
Okay.
maybe sometime.
May 14th is the day. And there, est-ce qu'on va voir sur notre site web nous-mêmes?
C'est un lien vers le MRC. Mais je veux pas,
Alors,
je
c'est
veux pas avoir
le
des
MRC,
erreurs.
OK. Il faut attendre, parce que c'est le MRC qui prend contrôle de la totalité.
Mais sur notre website, on a un lien direct.
Je l'ai vu. Parce que j'ai appelé à MRC, puis il était supposé, il annonçait qu'il était exposé aujourd'hui.
T'as pas pu.
J'ai appelé, ils m'ont dit non, peut-être demain, peut-être après-demain, ou peut-être sometime.
Can I have the proposer? Danielle, all in favor? Chantal? Julie? Rob?
Wait.
Danny?
Wait.
And Jerry? Demande au directeur de l'État civil désignation à titre de célébrant entre mariage et union civile. This is a request to État civil, the province of Quebec, to designate the celebrant for marriage and civil unions, Gabrielle Parr. Est-ce que je peux avoir un proposeur de Rob?
So you can marry Steven.
We'll see that.
I don't understand what that is.
It's allowing me to, it's a request to the État civil, so a department of provincial Quebec, of which that would recognize me to perform marriages.
Oh, you would be able to perform.
I would. Don't announce it, just,
How much you charge?
I've been asked that from the municipality. I said, I'm not charging anything. I'm doing a favor for somebody, and obviously, if I do a favor for one, I might be doing a favor for many, so anyway.
Just a one shot.
Anyone.
It'll be in place for my term.
Oh, for your term,
For my term, that's correct.
Anyone
She
can
doesn't
ask.
do divorce.
Anyone can ask. I've already done it twice. I've done it before I was counselor. I've done
I
it.
did it too.
Mais c'est beau.
That's a one shot one, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's correct. So
So one shot deal.
Rob said he proposed,
Yes.
and we're all in favor. Chantal, Julie,
Yes.
We.
Danielle, Danny,
Yes.
and Jerry.
She says it's proposed, so it's
Oh. Okay.
I propose to Gabrielle.
That's what it sounded like. You never sure like that's right.
7.10, ordinaire auprès de la MRC Argenteuil, cadre du programme FRR volet 4, pour le projet d'accessibilité Rivière-Rouge. On demande pour l'aménagement de la section sur la Rivière-Rouge une somme de 90 000 pour effectuer les travaux. Les travaux étant 3 secteurs de stationnement. Deposit of a request for a grant vis-à-vis the MRC Argenteuil in the FRR volet 4 revitalization program is specifically tied to accessibility to the Rivière Rouge. It goes with the Hydro-Quebec project, of which the request is $90,000 for the grant. Can I have a proposer? Danielle? All in favor? Chantal? Julie?
Yes.
Rob?
Oui.
Danny?
Yes.
And Jerry?
No.
Okay. 7.11.
Actually, I'm sorry.
7.11. Modification au règlement numéro 379-2025 décrétant une dépense totale de 2 024, un emprunt de 2 81 024 pour les travaux sur le chemin Rivière-Rouge. En effet, c'est modifiant le règlement de ce pour un emprunt associé à 628 494 vis-à-vis, c'est quel projet celui-là? 7.11. Le projet, ça c'est le projet de Rivière-Rouge, le haut de la section.
Effectivement.
Et le but, c'est on privilège toujours un règlement d'emprunt en attendant que le projet est entièrement finalisé pour compléter, mais c'est le projet qu'on anticipe utiliser nos ressources humaines, nos équipements pour contribuer notre pourcentage à ce projet. Can I have a proposer?
Can I hear that in English?
Yes, I'm sorry. Modification to bylaw 379-2025, which outlined an expense of $2,081,024 vis-a-vis a loan of $2,081,024 for the works done on the upper level of Chemin Rivière Rouge. In fact, the modification reduces the $2 million loan to $628,497, but this is the same loan I mentioned before that we are anticipating paying our percentage entirely with human resources and our equipment, as we are entitled to claim a higher ratio for our in-house service as comparable to contracting it out. Est-ce que je peux avoir un proposeur, s'il vous plaît? Jerry? All in favor? Chantal?
Oui.
Julie?
Yes.
Danielle?
Oui.
Rob?
Oui.
And Dan?
Yes.
7.12. Addendum le contrat directeur général adjoint. Nous sommes à un moment de reviser le contrat pour notre directeur général adjoint. Et en gros, ça s'est prévu à compléter et l'autorisation est strictement pour autoriser Steve Deschênes et Gabriel Parr pour signer le addendum, le contrat, lorsqu'il est finalisé, lorsqu'il est final. C'est ça. 7.12 is the addendum to the contract for Mr. Directeur Général Adjoint Mathieu Dessureau. He's up for a review of his contract. It'll be reviewed strictly, but with adding an addendum. And the addendum is to be authorized to be signed by Steve Deschênes and Gabriel Parr. Can I have a proposer for that? Rob, all in favor? Chantal?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Danielle?
Oui.
Danny,
Yes.
and Jerry. Bon. Motion et règlement. Avis de motion et règlement. L'adoption règlement numéro 382-2026 relatif au traitement des élus municipaux. 8.1 is a relative of the adoption of the bylaw that we presented last month for associated to municipal elected employees remuneration. This was presented at the last meeting. Major modifications are tied to indexation and in terms of adding a specific criteria for one councillor to be tied to the MRC. Can I have a proposer for this bylaw? Danny. All in favor? Chantal? 8.1.
8.1, no.
Okay, Julie?
Yes.
Danny? Danielle?
Oui.
Rob?
Wait.
And Jerry?
Oui.
Merci. 8.2. 8.2 is tied to the presentation we had at 6:30 regarding a bylaw tied to patrimonial buildings on the territory of Harrington. In order to respect the patrimonial law, all municipalities must adopt a maintenance and occupation bylaw by April 1st, 2026. This bylaw, at the very least, must be relative to patrimonial buildings listed by the MRC and include standards relative to limiting the deterioration of buildings and protecting buildings against damages and to preserve the integrity of the structure. This new bylaw will allow the protection, will allow the protection and to favor the cultural patrimonial value of the municipality of Harrington for generations to come. For buildings not covered by this bylaw, the building and nuisance bylaws will still apply. Afin de respecter la loi sur le patrimoine culturel, toute municipalité doit adopter un règlement sur l'entretien et l'occupation des bâtiments, et ce, à compter du 1er avril. Ce règlement doit viser minimalement les immeubles patrimoniaux de l'inventaire de la MRC Argenteuil et inclure des normes visant à empêcher le dépérissement des bâtiments et protéger les bâtiments contre les intempéries et à préserver l'intégrité de leur structure. Ce nouveau règlement permettra donc de protéger et de valoriser le patrimoine bâti et culturel d'Harrington pour les prochaines générations à venir. Pour les autres immeubles qui ne sont pas inclus à l'inventaire de la MRC, le règlement de construction et de nuisance continue de s'appliquer. Alors, ce règlement a été avis de motion le dernier. Moi, on a présenté ce soir en consultation. Maintenant, on procède à l'adoption du règlement sous 8.2. Est-ce que je peux avoir un proposeur? Jerry, all in favor? Chantal?
Oui.
Julie?
Yes.
Danielle?
Oui.
Rob?
Oui.
And Dan?
Oui.
« 8.3, c'est adoption du règlement numéro 385-2026 modifiant le règlement sur les permis et certificats 195-2012 de la municipalité du canton de Harrington afin d'assujettir les tournages à l'émission d'un certificat d'autorisation et établir une tarification à cette fin. En gros, ça ouvre la porte à collecter une somme pour les tournages qui ont lieu sur notre territoire. Adoption of bylaw number 385-2026 2026 modifies the bylaw on permits and certificates for Harrington, which opens the door to claiming fees for the production and filming on our territory, and to provide clarification to this end. So that bylaw we presented last month, and we are looking at adopting it tonight. Long story short, we're looking at a certification fee of $500 for the request, with plus $200 per day pursuant to that. A copy of the bylaw is in the back. Est-ce que je peux avoir un proposeur pour Jerry?
That would be on municipal land only, not on private land.
It's in the territory, so it's a territorial. So yes, on any land in Harrington.
So if somebody films on my land, you want $500?
If somebody comes and does a movie on your property, yes, that's right.
Not coming
That's
from
very
you.
wrong.
That's right.
It's also,
You're not paying taxes on my land.
I think you should check it out, Mrs. Parr. I'm not sure
Yeah.
that's what the
Well,
subject
it's
is.
usage, it's for events. There are different, look, we already presented it and validated that, so. And as Mr. Sénéchal brings up, we're on a territory where we have very minimal means of revenue generation.
Absolutely.
So we are looking at all different angles. And as you can see tonight, we're looking at multiple different aspects in that respect to alleviate the burden on the taxpayer. We are not in a question period right now.
I know.
Thank you. Est-ce que je peux avoir un proposeur pour adopter cet règlement? Rob. All in favor? Chantal?
Oui.
Julie? Danielle?
Oui.
Danny?
Yes.
And Jerry?
No, without further clarification.
Okay.
You said no, Jerry?
No.
8.4, adoption du règlement 386-2026 modifiant le règlement constituant le comité consultatif d'urbanisme 196-2012 de la municipalité de Canton de Harrington, afin de modifier le nombre de membres composant le comité. The 8.4 is associated to adopting the bylaw we presented last month to increase the number of members on our CCU committee from what it was to,
Six to
it
seven.
was 6
To
par
seven.
Please do not interrupt, that's really rude.
Well, I'm just
That's rude.
complaining.
Chiffre 6 par le chiffre 7. So change the bylaw from 6 to 7 for the total and from 4 to 5 for in terms of residents. So the total committee has 2 councillors, 5 residents under this new bylaw. Est-ce que je peux avoir un proposeur? Daniel? Oui, vous acceptez. Chantal? Julie, Rob,
Wait.
Danny,
Yes.
and Jerry.
Yes.
So, sorry,
Not the question period.
no, just explain what you just said, no?
Oh, okay, so it's a CCU committee that's increased. We presented it last month in terms of the avis de motion and the presentation of the bylaw. Long story short, we're adding 1 person to our CCU committee.
Oh,
It's an extra resident. 8.5. Adoption du règlement numéro 383-2026 modifiant le règlement de lotissement 193-2012. This particular presentation, a bylaw, was presented last month where we modified it somewhat. This evening at 6:30 we had a presentation of the finalized bylaw. And to summarize, this bylaw modifies the rates applicable to creating new lots payable where the tax aspect is payable to the park reserve, increasing the tax rate from 5% to 7.5%. Since 2012, a value of 5% has been required and within the law on urbanism planning, allowing municipality, and on urbanism planning, municipalities have a maximum of 10% to claim in this respect. Certain modification associated to exemption, such as roads, ecological gifts, constructed lots, and lots destined to increase an adjacent lot are exempt. The bylaw also introduces a postponement, allowing owners of larger lots to settle their payment during the next phase of development. Ce règlement modifie les dispositions concernant la cession aux fins de parcs, de terrains de jeu ou d'espaces naturels, notamment au niveau du pourcentage de la superficie de la valeur des lots visés, en passant de 5% à 7,5%. Depuis 2012, soit la date d'entrée en vigueur du règlement de lotissement, une valeur de 5% a été exigée et la loi sur l'aménagement et l'urbanisme permet aux municipalités d'exiger un maximum de 10%. Des modifications sont aussi apportées au niveau des exemptions à la cession de terrains aux fins de parc, terrains de jeu ou d'espaces naturels, les voies de circulation, les dons écologiques, les lots construits et les lots destinés à des fins d'agrandissement d'un lot adjacent sont désormais exemptés de ces frais. Le règlement introduit également la possibilité d'un report de contribution pour la cession aux fins de parc, ce qui permettra aux propriétaires de lots ayant de grandes superficies la possibilité d'acquitter la contribution lors d'une prochaine phase de développement. Can I have a proposer for that bylaw? Chantal, all in favor? Julie? Yes. Danielle?
Oui.
Rob?
Oui.
Danny?
Yes.
And Jerry?
Oui.
Merci. 8.6, avis de motion du projet de règlement concernant le code d'éthique et de déontologie des élus. 8.6, notice of motion of the draft bylaw 387-2026 relative to the code of ethics and deontology of the elected members of Harrington. Can I have a Jerry? Jerry fait l'avis de motion. 8.7. Dépôt et présentation du projet de règlement numéro 387-2026 concernant le code d'éthique et de déontologie des élus. 8.7 is the presentation of the draft bylaw for the code of ethics and deontology for the elected members. Copy of which is at the back of the hall. Est-ce que je peux avoir un proposeur pour accepter la présentation? Chantal, all in favor? Julie?
Yes.
Danielle?
Oui.
Rob?
Oui.
Danny?
Yes.
And Jerry?
Yes.
Non, j'ai marqué. Oui, 8.8. 8.8. Avis de motion du projet de règlement 388-2026, amendement de règlement d'emprunt 374-2025 concernant les travaux sur le chemin Rivière-Rouge autorisant une dépense totale de 7 334 711 $ et décrétant un emprunt de 1 833 678 $ pour défrayer le coût. Ceci est une modification associée à la durée du terme de cet emprunt-là. Je fais un petit résumé. Par contre, le projet était de 7 334 initialement, mais après tout, la valeur totale de notre partie était juste un peu moins de la moitié de 1,8 million, 900 quelque chose mille. Donc, on a utilisé 306 000 de notre surplus pour un prêt de 607 000 dollars. 8.8 is a notice of motion for the project of our bylaw amending the loan bylaw 374-2025 relative to the works performed over the last 2 years on Rivière Rouge Road, which originally authorized $7,334,711 and decreeing a loan of $1,833,678 to counter the municipality's portion. I repeat, as per the major modification of this bylaw is just to the term, increasing the term from 10 years to 20 years. And I would like to remind you also that notwithstanding those were the original details of that project bylaw, the end result was more than half of what the loan would have been of 1.8 million was 900,000, of which we used 306,000 of our surplus, leaving a loan balance of 607,000. So change of term from 10 to 20 years. Est-ce que je peux avoir un proposeur pour cet avis? Rob, all in favor? Chantal?
Oui.
Julie?
Yes.
Danielle?
Oui.
Danny?
Yes.
And Jerry?
Yes.
8.9. 8.9 est très semblable à 8.8. C'est relatif à un décret de règlement d'emprunt pour le projet.
C'est la même chose. Le premier, c'est un avis de motion.
Oh.
Et le deuxième, c'est le règlement.
Alors, on commence le 8.1, c'est Rob qui l'a accepté. Le 8.9, c'est exactement la même chose. Ça me prend un proposeur. Julie, all in favor? Chantal?
Oui.
Danielle?
Oui.
Danny?
Yes.
And Jerry?
Oui, si vous me permettez, Madame la
Oui,
mairesse,
vas-y.
au mois prochain, on va adopter le règlement final qui vient modifier le premier règlement d'emprunt. C'est pas un nouveau règlement, c'est le même qu'on a adopté l'année passée. On fait juste réduire la durée du prêt. On fait juste modifier la durée du prêt de 10 à 20 ans pour avoir un meilleur impact. Et l'autre élément, c'est que la prochaine étape, c'est qu'on va passer une résolution qui va venir confirmer le montant final de l'emprunt.
The taxes are going to be, the interest is going to be a lot higher.
It's crazy. 10 to
Right.
20?
Mais c'est cette solution-là où les taxes sont plus hautes.
It's either you pay more in a 10-year loan or lesser in a 20. The goal was to reduce the impact on the taxpayer.
Okay, anyways, I'll ask you a question period, sorry.
Perfect.
Je sais que c'est pas la période de questions. C'est
9.
ça a rapport avec les 7.11, on parlait déjà des prêts sur le chemin de l'hiver.
C'est tout relié, Monsieur Landry.
Hier,
Mais ça, c'est une autre section, mais c'est tout relié. 9, il n'y a rien, travaux publics. 10, sécurité publique. Le sommaire des incendies pour le mois de février est salaire 3437,18. The summary of our fire department cases for the month of February totaled $3,437.18 in salary, covered 2 interventions, plus exams, officer exams, training hours, and inspection of our equipment. Cette somme-là couvre 2 interventions, plus des examens d'officiers, des entraînements et des inspections de notre équipement. 10.1 Rapport annuel d'activité de la mise en œuvre du schéma de couverture de risque en sécurité incendie 2025 de la MRC Argenteuil. Annual report on preparation of the coverage for the territory, risks and security for 2025, prepared, associated with the MRC. We every year, last one we did was in 2005, then in 2016.
C'est à toutes les années, on doit déposer un rapport annuel d'activité
Depuis-
de notre service d'incendie.
Depuis 2016.
Oui.
Alors, we have prepared that presentation for the MRC, and I'm looking for a proposer. Danielle, all in favor? Chantal?
Oui.
Julie?
Yes.
Rob?
Oui.
Danny?
Oui.
And Jerry?
Yes.
Merci. 10.2, résolution avis d'intention pour implantation d'un service de premier répondant. En effet, c'est associé à une demande de soutien financier. On a déjà mis en place un contrat premier répondant. Maintenant, il y a des subventions disponibles à cet effet. Alors, la résolution est associée à demander signer une entente pour demander un soutien financier. 10.2 is a resolution tied to the putting in place of first responders on our territory, but more specifically to the request for financial assistance as newly created. We have new funding which would allow us to obtain grant in that respect to assist us in the payment of our expenses for first responders. Est-ce que je peux avoir un proposeur, s'il vous plaît? Danielle, all in favor? Chantal?
Oui.
Julie? Rob?
Oui.
Danny?
Oui.
And Jerry? 11. Urbanisme et environnement. Nous avons pour le sommaire des permis, nous avons débuté le mois de février avec 27 demandes en cours. Nous avons reçu 9 nouveaux et nous avons émis 11 permis et on finit le mois avec 25 permis en cours. La valeur de nos 11 permis émis, c'est 452 800, incluant une résidence à 375 000 11.2. Nomination. Okay, yes, okay. We started the month with 27 permits being worked on. We received 9 new requests. We provided permits, 11, leaving a balance of 25 files that were in the process of obtaining a permit. The total value of the 11 permits that were emitted was for $452,800, of which one residence is classified for a value of $375,000. 11.2. Nomination de l'autorité compétente et du fonctionnaire désigné en vertu du règlement 372-2025 concernant l'encadrement et la possession des chiens. Nomination of the competent authority and the human resource designated in virtue of bylaw 372-2025 concerning how we manage the bylaw associated to possession of dogs. We have put in place a new bylaw relative to ownership of dogs for residents of our territory, and the process is to nominate Donald Makua, our inspector in urbanism, to be the titled authority and designated for the application of this bylaw as of March 16. Est-ce que je peux avoir un proposeur pour cette Danny? All in favor? Chantal?
Oui.
Julie?
Yes.
Danielle?
Oui.
Rob?
Oui.
And Jerry?
Oui.
11.3. Dérogation mineure numéro 2025 018 0180 visant l'immeuble situé au 15 chemin Pine. Avons-nous quelqu'un dans la salle qui est associé à cette propriété? Non. Alors, en gros, c'est une soumission d'une demande de dérogation.
I didn't understand, sorry.
Well, it's because I'm coming to that. The long story, it's a request of minor derogation. It's relative to a property situated at 15 Chemin Pine. I basically asked, is there someone that is tied to that property? No. So we'll start in French and I'll review it in English after. Considérant que le propriétaire a obtenu un permis portant numéro 2023-0168 pour la construction d'un garage détaché en cour latérale sur une propriété située au 15 chemin Pine, considérant que le propriétaire a construit, contrairement au permis émis, le garage détaché en cour avant, sans avoir obtenu au préalable l'approbation exigée par la réglementation, considérant que le garage détaché construit contrevient au paragraphe 3.4.2.1 relatif à l'implantation de certains bâtiments ou constructions en cour avant, lequel se lit comme suit. Lorsque la référence au présent article est mentionnée dans les tableaux de la section 3.3, l'implantation est autorisée en cour avant si l'implantation en cour latérale et en cour arrière était impossible. Considérant qu'en vertu du règlement sur les dérogations mineures, le comité consultatif d'urbanisme doit transmettre une recommandation au conseil municipal en tenant compte des dispositions de ce règlement, considérant que le propriétaire a déposé tous les documents nécessaires à l'analyse de sa demande, considérant que tous les membres présents du CCU estiment que la présente demande de dérogation mineure ne respecte pas une des dispositions prévues au règlement sur les dérogations mineures, attendez, je m'excuse, je manque la dernière partie.
Le comité consultatif ne recommande pas au conseil et le conseil entérine.
Non, le
Non.
conseil
Mais
entérine
refuse-
rien.
entérine rien.
Le CCU refuse le dossier tel quel. Avant qu'on procède à notre décision de résolution, est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un qui aimerait... Monsieur Filion?
Are you going to ask for this in English?
Yep.
It's all right. Okay. Well, it's not finished. Monsieur, est-ce que vous avez dit que monsieur avait fait une demande pour construire en marge latérale et que ça avait été autorisé?
Oui.
Vous avez dit ça?
Oui.
Parce que monsieur
Wait,
monsieur,
you want me to do it in English so that we're all on the same page rather than repeating? Long story short, what was presented to the CCU committee was a request by an owner relative to a permit that he received in 2023 associated to 15 Chemin Pine, of which he constructed, contrary to the permit that was requested, a detached garage in the front of his house without first obtaining the approval required by that bylaw. Considering the garage was constructed and contravenes bylaw 3.4.2.1. Considering that in virtue of minor derogations, the CCU has to provide a recommendation to the conseil, considering the owner deposited all the necessary documentation at his disposal, and considering that all the members of the CCU estimated that the present minor derogation did not respect any of the one of the dispositions noted in the bylaw, the CCU refuses the file. Before we proceed to the resolution by council, do I have any comments from the floor?
well, my comment is, Mrs. Park, that the man acted illegally and in bad faith. and is not admissible.
That's what the CCU said, yeah.
And they're correct. So you
Don't tell us what we're going to decide right now. What we're looking for is any new input.
I want to make something very clear. In these circumstances, monsieur is not, monsieur, madame, whoever built that garage in bad faith, is not admissible to the minor derogation system.
Yes, but they are entitled, because the only people who can decide on the minor derogation system, they have a whole list of criteria. It has to go to CCU, and the CCU will say, this does not meet the requirement. Mr. Filion, I'm not going to negotiate what the law says. So the CCU has stated.
Under the circumstances, we've gone through this before.
No, you're saying the inspector should say no. The inspector has no right to say no to a request for minor derogation. Only the CCU have the right to review, and only the council can say no, you cannot, or yes, you can.
Don't speak for me,
This is the inspector supposed to, the inspector gives me a permit to build a home.
Yeah.
He gives me a permit to build my home. And I build my home myself.
Yeah.
Isn't that inspector obligated to go to your home and check
He
out
does.
the building?
He does.
I can tell you right now that I will not do it.
Sonia, this is one specific file we've got to close. You can save your questions for if they're generic, okay? But long story short, the inspector clearly identified the infraction. And since the inspector identified the infraction, from there on, it followed this process.
No.
The owner requested it be reviewed. He is entitled to have it reviewed. You can't have just an employee of an inspector making that decision. It's a CCU decision. So if there's no other I know, but it goes to the CCU to get our. So
the law says the man is not admissible to.
Mr. Filion, the job is done. No, I'm not going to discuss it with you. I'm not going to debate that. So the CCU already stated. Is there anybody who is in favor or wants to make comment to this specific thing?
Well, I'm just curious as to how. When a permit is issued, it doesn't take a garage isn't built in a ditch.
They did a house and a garage at the same time.
At the same time. Whether it's one house and one garage.
They had a year. They had a year to process.
It takes a certain amount of time to build a garage, especially if you're building a garage with a concrete floor. So I'm just. Well, my mind is boggled here trying to understand how a person goes from zero to a fully built garage over a certain period of time. It could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, without it being inspected and the work being stopped at some point.
Exactly.
There was no way it should have gotten to a complete garage.
That's a topic to be looked at, but at this particular thing, we're just deciding, is this valid or not? So if there's no other comments from the floor, can I have a resolution to refuse the request of minor derogation? Jerry, proposed by Jerry, all in favor? Chantal?
Yes.
Julie? Yes. Danielle?
Oui.
Rob?
Oui.
And Danny?
Yes.
Merci.
Thank you.
Merci. On est rendu à 11.4, nomination du comité consultatif d'urbanisme. 11.4 is to nominate an extra person to our CCU committee. We put a request out for potential interested parties. We received 3 very interesting parties, and council has decided on the appointment of Richard Francoeur for a period of 2 years to the CCU committee. Can I have a proposal? Rob, all in favor? Chantal?
Yes.
Julie? Danielle?
Oui.
Danny?
Yes.
And Jerry?
Where is this motion on the document?
Nomination of urban planning advisory on.
période de questions. Yes, Mr. Collins.
A question that's been asked many times before. What's the situation on the trailer on Birds, on the?
It's really at the very.
Apparently, last time I was told the dossier is moving. So
Well,
how
the
far
dossier
have we got?
has moved drastically, has been heard by court. We are not allowed talking about those individual court files, but you can rest assured we are advancing drastically on that.
It's in process. We receive a judgment from a superior court, and the owner has 3 months to do something, and the end of 3 months will be in the mid of April.
And if they don't, I'm curious what's, or is that a whole other?
Because they've been told for years,
It's
right?
pretty sad.
Sorry?
I think it's pretty sad, the situation, but we will have to do something, and I can go inside of the file because it's a personal
No,
point.
you can't talk about it. You
Yeah,
can't talk about it. No.
But if somebody doesn't comply, what is the next step? Just out of curiosity.
It's unbelievably long and complicated, okay? And this was the perfect example of how long and how complicated. But Harrington has had in the past a couple of other files very similar to this, and it took as long and was as complicated. But it's a very expensive file, eh? It's a very expensive file to have to go to all that length. Monsieur Landry?
Une petite clarification pour le 8.9, le fameux prêt de 1.8. On parle des prêts pour le chemin de la Rivière Rouge, puis
Rivière-Rouge, oui.
à 7.11, on parle d'un autre prêt aussi. C'est quoi ça?
Ça, c'est la partie supérieure qui va avoir lieu plus tard cette année. Celui, c'est 2 différentes sections.
OK.
Monsieur Saint-Charles?
On m'a toujours dit que les églises, les religions, on ne connaît pas de taxes municipales. Si on prend pour acquis que le temple bouddhiste doit recevoir à peu près 500 autobus coach par année comme visiteurs, est-ce qu'il y a quelque chose?
C'est en effet, Monsieur Saint-Charles, on est en train de regarder ce dossier.
Bonne question.
C'est déjà en cours, on a déjà ouvert la discussion. Non, mais
Ils ont une exemption de taxe, mais pas pour 100% de la valeur.
puis c'est ça qu'on cherche à regarder.
Deuxième partie de la question, s'il
Oui.
vous plaît. Dans le cas où quelqu'un bâtit quelque chose pas correct, basé sur le permis qu'il a, je ne parle pas de ce cas-là.
Non.
Okay? Il ne bâtit pas à bonne place ou il bâtit trop gros, peu importe. Puis là, il fait une demande de dérogation. En théorie, ça devrait compenser parce qu'il n'a pas suivi le permis qu'il a reçu. Qu'est-ce que la loi prévoit dans le cas où quelqu'un fait quelque chose de délibérément pas légal? Qu'est-ce que la loi vous donne?
C'est
Qu'est-ce que la loi vous permet? Est-ce que la loi vous permet de dire au gars, prends ta chainsaw puis tu mets le garage à terre? Est-ce que la loi vous permet de faire ça?
Le refus de la demande de dérogation mineure, ça comprend une contravention et ça comprend de régler la situation.
Oui, mais c'est parce que...
Alors, régler la situation, c'est de bouger de...
Dans un cas de contravention.
Pardon?
Dans un cas de contravention. Le gars, il bâtit sa maison 15 pieds plus long que le plan dessus.
Oui.
Il reçoit une amende de 1000 $. C'est une joke, là.
Mais c'est pas juste, non, c'est pas juste une contravention, M. Saint-Charles. C'est une contravention plus il faut régler la situation. Alors, 1, il faut payer la contravention, puis 2, bouger la
Il
voie.
peut démolir le garage puis payer l'amende.
Si vous me permettez, si je vais juste donner un point d'éclaircissement, ce qui est important. La cour municipale n'a pas beaucoup de dedans. La cour municipale, elle va dire oui ou non un ticket et des fois une obligation au propriétaire de bouger quelque chose.
La loi ne vous permet
Mais
pas de dire au gars d'aller
il faut aller en cour supérieure. Regardez le plus beau cas, le cas de la rue Thompson. On est allé en cour supérieure. Et quand on va en cour supérieure,
OK, donc, en 2 mots, si
c'est
j'essaie
25
de comprendre puis de lire entre les lignes, on est mieux de dire au gars, donne-moi 1000 $ d'amende, puis on ferme les yeux, parce que ça va nous coûter plus cher si on
Non,
veut
parce
taper
que
ses doigts.
ça donne raison aux autres de faire exactement la même chose.
C'est l'argent.
Mais, juste pour vous dire, ça ne devrait pas arriver, ça. Une personne qui bâtit une maison, qui bâtit 5 pieds plus pour face. C'est fait la fondation et inspecte la fondation. Il bâtit sa maison, il bâtit sa maison. C'est vraiment d'écrire dans la description de sa job, dans son
Non,
job
je
description.
m'excuse.
Excuse me, but that's written right in the job description.
Non. En Ontario, c'est vrai. On est la seule province canadienne où ce que c'est pas un go, no go. Ici, on donne un permis et on va à la fin des travaux.
So why do we have an inspector then?
For a lot of things.
Je pense que vous devrez aller vérifier le job description de l'inspecteur général de l'Inspecteur.
Non, mais
Non, un instant.
C'est vérifié là-dedans.
Appelle-moi quand tu vas faire ton excavation. Il ne peut pas dire ça. Bon, ben, ça ne nous donne rien d'avoir un inspecteur.
Ben non, il ne
Parce
faut
que-
pas exagérer. On a 1100 municipalités au Québec où il y a des inspecteurs partout avec des rôles bien définis. Si on se compare à l'Ontario, ils ont plus d'outils, mais un permis coûte beaucoup plus cher à l'Ontario de construction parce que l'Ontario, c'est la formule go, no go. Telle étape, on fait une inspection. Telle étape, on fait une inspection. Actuellement, il y a un projet de loi au Québec pour se rendre vers ça, mais le projet de loi a été rejeté, balayé du revers de la main.
Le garage qui a été construit, réellement, vous savez, celui dont
Dans 327.
j'avais demandé de m'expliquer qu'est-ce qui est arrivé, il est encore là, le garage. Puis, je voudrais savoir comment ça a été réglé. Maintenant, je vais vouloir aussi savoir comment ce dossier-là va être réglé. Parce qu'il semble, et mon ami Gilbert là, soulève un point important. On dit, les gens qui font les choses illégalement se ramassent avec plus de droits que ceux qui suivent les règles.
Et pour
C'est
cette raison-là qu'il faut procéder.
Alors, quand vous allez en cour supérieure la prochaine fois, vous demanderez que la personne soit condamnée pour les frais en vertu d'un article particulier, je vous le donnerai si vous voulez. Parce que la mauvaise foi ne doit pas profiter à personne et la cour supérieure a les moyens pour régler la mauvaise. La prochaine personne qui fera quelque chose illégalement, vous lui demanderez de payer les frais pour faire démolir sa maison et les frais de la municipalité. Mais ce que je vois, c'est que j'ai hâte de voir la réponse que vous allez me donner pour celui à 327, parce que ça continue. Alors,
Sonia?
et la dernière fois que ça avait été demandé, c'était dans le temps de notre ancienne directrice générale, sur le rue des Chevreuils ou des Orignaux. La personne avait demandé une autorisation pour construire un garage en cour latérale, ça lui a été refusé. Tout ce qu'il a fait, c'est qu'il a mis un container maritime et personne ne jamais rien dit. La municipalité n'est jamais allé le voir. C'est tout aussi légal.
Et est-ce que j'ai des autres questions?
Oui, j'en ai une autre.
Sonia?
J'en ai une autre.
I want to ask you, to be honest, because I had a kind of a bad experience with that and with the inspector. Like it seemed like he wasn't, no one, knew what he
If
did.
you have a specific thing,
But no, I'm not gonna,
Okay.
this is in general, so the public can hear. So, does he have the qualifications to do the job as an inspector?
J'ai pas écouté, excusez-moi, je te...
est-ce que M. Donald Macquois a les qualifications pour être inspecteur?
Il y a 2 maîtrises.
Quoi?
2 masters. En aménagement de territoire et en environnement.
Environnement, est-ce que c'est
And what?
And
J'ai pas tant d'histoire.
management of the territory.
So what?
That's not an
Planning, town planning.
Un environnement.
Okay, town planning, does that mean building the homes and everything? Okay, because I know for sure, I'm not 100% sure, 200% sure, that he does not or did not know his doesn't have the qualifications.
Okay, if
I
you
will
have a
not
specific,
sit here.
if you have a specific thing
No, I'm
to
not
talk
gonna
about
have
one
anything. I would
employee,
never-
I would say come to see me instead of doing it publicly. I would say come and see me.
I had an experience with it, don't know, and the person that no longer works there. I called the town, I wanted to do
Okay,
something.
do you have a question?
I just asked you if you had my question.
Okay, the
when I
question
wanted-
is,
what
that
does he have
answers-
experience?
Yes, he does.
And you're 100% sure that he has.
Are you 100% sure, Steve?
Il y a cette formation. C'est des compétences, oui.
Yes. Next question?
Yes, madame, very short one. Quel est le besoin d'ajouter un 7e membre du comité?
Ça a été déterminé par le conseil étant nécessaire.
Quorum.
C'est tout, c'est relié à quorum.
Moi, ma question, c'est quoi le besoin?
Mais c'est un besoin pour assurer quorum. Oui. Yeah. Yes.
I have three questions. I'm gonna take
You have only 3 allowed. I think you already did one before.
I have two to one question. So the thing is, I'd like to know is the evaluator, the MRC evaluations, how they do business. What they do is get a property evaluated, say a lakefront lot at 2 acres. Evaluate that place for 90,000. Because that person next door sold his place for 90,000. Okay? Then across the street, you have 110 acres, and they evaluate that for 109,000. Does that sound fair?
But they have to understand that
I went to the MRC.
I'll tell you, there's nothing fair in taxation, right? But
One's on the water and the other one's across the
No,
street.
no, both on the water. Both on the water.
the point is first of all, it's nice to say is it fair, is it not fair? It's entirely out of our hands. Evaluations is done by a professional firm that's contracted by the MRC, and they are responsible to report to the MRC the values. Then the MRC reports to the municipality. Then the municipality reports to their taxpayers. So we really have no alternative other than to tell you, if you feel your tax value is wrong or overstated, you have the option to contest.
I did.
Okay, so
I
that's...
did. I went to the MRC and I discussed it in very length. I brought a whole bunch of examples. Even us in Harrington here, there's areas here that the homes and properties are evaluated higher than Lachute, Brownsburg, and Grenville.
No.
Oh yes, they are. If you look in,
No, we have to be comparable, but all I can tell you is that there is always the option to contest. That's what you have to do.
You did contest, but they came back and said no, there's no.
It's a contestation, so it's a back and forth.
Yes.
You will present your case, they present their case, and you can take it to the next step. If you're not happy with their, if you're not happy with their response as to how they can improve the situation, then you take it to the next step. You're not satisfied. Let's say they say, we're not changing anything. Then you can go to the Tribunal Administratif du Québec, and it's another thing, and it's a courtroom specific for evaluators. Those people are taxpayers in that room and evaluators in that room. There might be a few lawyers as well. The judges at that table, they're not necessarily lawyers, they're more generally evaluators that have been in the system for a long time. Long story short, you can present your case there, and people who have been refused that initial point and then gone to the TAQ have had their cases reviewed. But little point to make is that if you go in front of the judge at a TAQ, you are also opening the door to increasing your evaluation, not just reducing it, because I have seen that in play.
Well, I would guarantee you, any judge who sees a 2-acre lot at 90,000 and a 110-acre lot is not evaluated.
Yeah, but you're not, okay.
Come on, that's
If your only basis is comparing your neighbor's lot, that's not accepted as a reason. You have to always use the market. From 18 months prior to the date of evaluation, you go with the market sales of comparable properties.
I brought that up too.
Okay, that's...
Because I know that the market sale, the guy's house was valued at property. I'm just talking land.
Yeah.
The land is
Property. His property was sold, it was valued at 90,000, he sold it for 40,000.
Okay.
So if you tell me, and I brought that up to the MRC,
Yes.
and it has no bearing on it.
Well, that's a definite bearing. A market sale at the time of the date of effect is a perfect, reasonable. It would be nice to have a couple of cases, not just one. It would be also nice to know that that person didn't sell it to their son or their sister or their friend, and that's why it's not 90,000 and 40. But that is how you present it. You can't your reasons of contestation cannot be based because your neighbor's got a cheaper value. It doesn't work that way.
Madam, I'll just bring
It's
this up.
sales.
And when we had that evaluation on the property, green, orientation 10, you were a counselor at the time.
Yeah,
The MRC president was sitting right there,
yeah.
and he said at that time, 2-3 years ago, he said that the evaluations, that the MRC is gonna look at the evaluations and reaffirm it because it wasn't fair how the company was
I
doing.
can tell you that this last year, as to the 3 municipalities that had their evaluation done at the same time as us, that there were contestations made and they were contestations won. Okay, and I can tell you that for the Ville de la Chute, there were some major modifications on industrial land, and I'm talking millions of dollars in reduction of value. So don't think that that's not an option. If you feel you've been treated unfairly, that's the avenue you have to take. And
Not just
okay, I think you're beyond your 3 questions, though.
myself, and concerned about the other property owners.
So it's concern for all of us.
Everybody has an option to contest their property.
Everybody does.
The municipality,
I
and the town, doesn't help the people at all.
Information.
I mean,
We don't assess the property on
You can assess the MRC.
private property.
Okay.
Mine went from 300 to 800.
Okay, good enough.
That's-
Is there any other questions? Because we're tying up.
MRC evaluation.
Yes, one more question. One.
That's it, I only gave you 2.
Let's go.
Just up there.
But
My
the
property
MRC
value went up from 300 and something to 800 and something
Oh, it's unbelievable.
within
Yeah.
a year and a half,
Yeah.
2 years.
It's because they had a 6-year period. They didn't do any
So
reevaluation.
that's where you people come in, aren't you?
No, it's not. It's not where I. That's where those people come in.
No,
Let's
I
pass.
called the
Oh, the
MRC,
MRC
and they
said
said I had to
you-
come, we had to.
I called the
Yeah, the MRC will always say, speak to your municipality, but we don't control when the evaluations.
The MRC sends the evaluations, not the municipality.
But the MRC said,
The municipality-
that you have to contact the
Yes,
municipality.
they will. They like to pass the buck on
They
us.
say that?
That's
Yeah,
right.
I
So
told you that
do
the other day.
Mais ils vont dire, comment c'est
You go in, you
But they-
contest it, they're gonna give you a form, you're gonna pay your 300 and something
Yeah,
dollars,
that's
and
not
you're
the
gonna go
problem.
through the process.
No, but when we called the MRC, about the taxes, they said you have to deal with your
That's the
Municipality.
tax, that's the tax
Taxes,
rate,
yes.
it's not the
That's
evaluation.
right, that's right.
Doesn't matter.
That's not evaluation.
Evaluation is done by the
My
municipality.
property tax went up last year, now all of a sudden I'm paying 16.77 this year
That's
again?
the municipality.
No, that's us.
That's us. Taxation is the municipality.
The
That's
MRC sets the evaluation.
Yeah.
The municipality sets the rates for the
That's right.
taxes.
That's what we said, you're in control. When you set a higher rate,
So
we pay more money.
16.77.
Okay, so we have any other questions?
No.
I need a motion to close. Rob, are we all in favor? Chantal?
I'll look for that.
Julie? Danielle?
We,
Danny?
Yes, sir.
Jerry?
Yeah.
Thank you so much and happy St. Pat's.